Due to the lack of humanitarian aid entering the Gaza Strip, we have yet another State Department official, a veteran of the department, stepping down from her post, taking a stand, and more importantly, speaking out against a ridiculous report that was released by our government that provides cover for what Israel is doing as they block critical life-saving humanitarian aid into Gaza. Now, the individual who has just resigned is Stacey Gilbert. She served in the State Department's Bureau of Population, Refugees, and Migration. Gilbert resigned this week, citing disagreements with a recently published US government report that claimed that Israel was not impeding humanitarian assistance to Gaza. She sent an email to staff Tuesday explaining her view that the State Department was wrong to conclude that Israel had not obstructed humanitarian assistance. Okay, let's just pause for a second. Everyone has pretty much accepted the reality of what's happening in Gaza. And when I say everyone, I mean every single humanitarian aid organization. Cindy McCain, who heads one of those humanitarian aid organizations weeks ago in one of those Sunday cable morning shows, made it abundantly clear that there is already famine in the Gaza Strip. So you have everyone in the international community acknowledging what's happening. You have the United States government spending hundreds of millions of dollars to construct a floating temporary pier off the coast of Gaza in order to circumvent Israel and get humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip, which by the way has been a disaster, has not worked and has not actually led to adequate aid entering the Gaza Strip. But then at the same time, as all of this is happening, you have the State Department releasing a report gaslighting everyone. Gaslighting the American people.
Pausing here to deliver some honest truth as we do in our news coverage as well. TYT is facing challenges, guys, as the entire industry is. You know who could make the difference? You. If you hit the join button below, it's gonna make all the difference and keep us in business. We appreciate you, thank you.
Now, how did this all come about? Well, the Biden administration actually pointed to that faulty, ridiculous gaslighting report in order to justify sending billions of dollars worth of additional weaponry to Israel as they carry out atrocities in the Gaza Strip, atrocities that have been described as a genocide by a Holocaust survivor who we shared clips of on the show yesterday. He's the co-founder of Human Rights Watch. And he says that because of the lack of humanitarian aid entering the Gaza Strip, he does believe that Israel is carrying out a genocide. This is a Holocaust survivor, guys. We're gonna hear from him again in just a moment. But back in February, Biden had issued this memo. It's known as NSM 20, asking for the State Department to specifically look into allegations that Israel was blocking aid. Now, he did this, he sent this memo to the State Department after he got some backlash from Democratic members of Congress. So he's like, all right, fine. Okay, I get it. We have rules. We're supposed to make sure we're not sending weapons to a country that's using our weapons to carry out war crimes or is carrying out war crimes. So fine, I'll have the State Department draft up a report. And so the State Department does it, and their report is a complete and utter joke, which is why you have Stacey Gilbert stepping down. She was so disgusted by it. The report, the product of weeks of discussion within the state and defense departments, found that while aid remains insufficient, the United States does not currently assess that the Israeli government is prohibiting or otherwise restricting the transport or delivery of US humanitarian assistance. Now, again, Gilbert's views and her disgust with this ridiculous report align with the vast majority of aid and humanitarian organizations who state that Israel is in fact blocking aid from reaching civilians in Gaza. Her views also align with the very Holocaust survivor that I referenced earlier. So let's hear from Ariad Nair.
The USAID Administrator Samantha Power testified before Congress that famine had set in Gaza. The head of the UN World Food Program has said that full-blown famine is underway in Gaza. Destroying the farms, destroying the greenhouses in Gaza, killing a large number of aid workers who were involved in the distribution of food. challenging the ability of the UN agency that has been principally involved in distributing food to continue that activity, and persuading the United States and other governments to cut off funds from that agency. All those things have had a cumulative impact on the availability of food and water and electricity and medical supplies in Gaza.
I'm going to go ahead and trust what the Holocaust survivor has to say about what's currently transpiring in the Gaza Strip, as opposed to our government, which unfortunately has been thoroughly corrupted by the Israel lobby and continues to provide cover for any war crimes that are carried out by the current Israeli government. And so aid flows, according to the Washington Post, have continued to be constricted in the weeks since the report was issued. But the report found insufficient grounds to halt aid to Israel. Solidarity with Gilbert and all of the other federal government employees who felt that their conscience and what their conscience was telling them was far more important than their livelihood, to be quite frank with you, to be honest with you. I mean, these are career officials, these are veterans of the State Department. And rather than do the comfortable thing, which I think the vast majority of people within our government are willing to do, and just remain in their post and stay quiet, they've decided to sacrifice quite a bit, sacrifice their careers to do the right thing. And I give them a lot of credit for that. What's amazing to me is that despite how much Biden and his handling of this war in Gaza has hurt him electorally, and despite the fact that so many people have resigned from his government and under his watch, he still refuses to change course. And so for all the people who get mad at me for being critical of Biden, as if I single-handedly decide how the election is gonna play out, maybe spare a moment or two to criticize the presidential candidate running for re-election, continuing to double down on the very policies that have made him incredibly unpopular in the first place. Maybe spare a moment for that.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. We really appreciate it, guys. And we appreciate it if you become members, because that allows us to be independent, honest, progressive, all the things that you don't get from corporate media. And all of that is because of you guys. Hit the join button below and become one of us, become a young Turk.